I'm Alastair McIntosh. I'm a Fellow of the Centre for Human Ecology in Scotland and Visiting Professor of Human Ecology at the University of Strathclyde. Well, poverty is an important issue because it hurts. Poverty hurts physically if you're ill and you can't afford treatment, if you can't afford to build a decent house or to heat it properly or whatever, if you can't afford to feed your children, it hurts physically. But it also hurts emotionally. Because when you're not able to look after yourself properly, and especially when you're not able to look after your dependents properly, that's a crushing thing for the human condition. And that's why we cannot be complicit in sustaining poverty. Well, some people would say there's no relationship between the position of the poor and what the relatively rich consume. I think that there's a huge relationship, and one that we're often in denial of. Because in order to consume beyond the level of dignified sufficiency, which is my definition of consumerism, in order to consume with profligacy, you've got to get your stuff from somewhere. And the reality is that very often that stuff is plundered from the places belonging to people who are living in relative poverty. Resources are plundered like timber, minerals, fishing stocks, etc. And also, when the poor are then impoverished because they can't look after themselves, they often end up working for poverty wages. So I don't think you can separate social justice from what it is that we consume. Well, I think that universities can do very important things to address poverty through purchasing, because purchasing is all about entering into a relationship between the supplier of goods and the consumer of goods. And the question is whether that relationship is entered into on an exploitative basis, where you try to force down the price to rock bottom, and therefore you force destruction of the earth, you force undercutting of environmental standards, and you force poverty wages at the end of the day. Is that the kind of relationship you want? Or are you going to have a relationship built on respect, spect as in spectacles, to take a deeper look at the relationships that you're involved with? And my view is that we can only consume with integrity, we can only hold together our own moral fibre and sense of values if we respect those who we're buying things from. And therefore policies like fair trade, policies like seeking high environmental and social standards are the kind of ways in which universities should be teaching, not just by lecturing, but by setting an example.